just seeing all the elements at play, it's such a good football shirt. Hello and welcome back to Phil's Corner. Welcome to episode 29 of Phil's Corner. Yes, I've been streaming recently and we've even started a new series looking at kits in video games, but this is episode 29 of the classic Phil's Corner episodes. We might not be in the corner still, we're on the sofa, but nonetheless, this is a look at football shirts in all their glory. And today is a really fun episode, an episode I've been wanting to do for a long time, because we're going to look at the kit history of Boca Juniors, one of my favourite clubs for shirts. Of course, we've got a couple of the shirts as well. This is how we do it at Phil's Corner. We don't just talk about shirts, we look at the shirts in detail, we get hold of them. We look at those details that can be easily missed when you're just looking at pictures on the internet. So there's a lot to look forward to. I've picked out 7 of my favourite Boca Juniors kits and we're going to go through them. And before I go any further, I do want to say thank you to Foot Fanatics, my sponsors for today's video. And if you want to get any Brazilian club shirts, Foot Fanatics are the best place, simply the best place to get those kind of shirts. You can get authentic versions of the Brazilian club shirts, player printing, rare versions with different sponsors and things like that you can't get anywhere else. So Foot Fanatics, check them out guys, the link is in the description, and you can use the code Phil's Corner to get a bit off your order as well if there aren't any other discount codes running. I mentioned at the start of the video about streams, and indeed I've been streaming now for a few weeks on a Tuesday evening. So if you guys want to get involved and join in the weekly streams, they're going to be pretty much every week at 8 PM on a Tuesday evening. I'll be posting details on here and on Twitter when I'm going live and things like that. But basically just come along to the channel at 8 PM on a Tuesday and you can join in with Phil's Corner Live. I've called it Phil's Corner Live. All the good stuff that you've enjoyed in these videos is available on those streams in a live format. And we've particularly focused over the few weeks on eBay. We've gone trying to find deals on eBay. It's been a lot of fun. Of course, you can ask me questions as we're streaming as well. It's just really fun. I've really enjoyed that format and I'll certainly be looking to continue that. So do check that out, guys. Do check the previous videos. Every stream will be going onto YouTube. So if you do miss the stream where you're not able to make 8 PM on a Tuesday, you can catch up with them on the channel as well. And I do want to give a shout out to Yoni and Joe, who have recently started supporting me on Patreon. And their names are at the bottom of the screen alongside my other supporters. And if you want to find out more about Patreon, again, the link is in the description. Check that out. There's some good stuff you can get. You get first access when I sell shirts from my collection. You'll be able to get a Phil's Corner shirt, an exclusive shirt for my Patreon supporters. And there's a Slack group where we're chatting regularly and you can ask me questions whenever you want. And there's loads of good stuff. So check that out in the description. Just before we get to the top 7 Boca Juniors shirts of all time, I want to let you guys in on a bit of a secret, because I realised a couple of months ago that I was starting to gravitate towards a particular team when it came to collecting shirts. And when it comes to collecting, and we've talked about this before on the channel, it's quite good to have goals in mind, targets or things to work towards, so you're not just aimlessly collecting shirts. And I was starting to think at the back end of the summer that I wanted to have a bit of a goal for my collection. At the very least, something more than what it was at the time, which was very vague. I'd sort of started to collect anything and everything again. I'd sort of reached that stage, which I'm sure many collectors will know, when you're sort of just buying all sorts of random stuff, and there was a real lack of direction. But there was one team which really stood out, and one team which I kept coming across and thinking, I really want that shirt, or that shirt looks really good, better than other teams from that era. And you won't be surprised to hear, it was Boca Juniors. I realised I want to start focusing on collecting Boca Juniors shirts. So, as I said, a couple of months ago, I sort of made that decision, and I mentioned it on my Patreon Slack group, and I've been looking out for Boca Juniors shirts since then. I've been basically having a bit more of a focus on Boca Juniors. I'm not going to be trying to collect every Boca Juniors shirt because I won't be able to afford my mortgage anymore. Maybe in a year's time, I'll do a bit of a review and see how many we've been able to collect. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to having that kind of goal in my collection. Of course, I'll be sharing pictures on Twitter, and indeed by the time this video goes live, there'll be a few I've already shared, I'm sure. But yeah, if you see a Boca Juniors shirt on your travels, do feel free to send it over if you don't snap it up yourself. But yeah, Boca Juniors, I'm all in. I'm all in. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into this top 7, and we're going to start with the most classic of Boca Juniors shirts. Probably the shirt which many of you will be thinking of when you think of Boca Juniors. Of course, Boca Juniors shirts are remarkably consistent. They haven't really deviated much from the classic Boca Juniors style of a blue shirt with a yellow or gold band running through the middle. That's pretty much the case with every Boca Juniors home shirt. But this particular Boca Juniors shirt I think stands out for a couple of reasons, and it is the 1981 shirt. There is so much to say about this shirt. Of course, it's an Adidas shirt and you've got that wonderful old Adidas trefoil logo there. And the man wearing it, we have to talk about Maradona, because this was one of the shirts that Maradona wore when he was at Boca Juniors. A young, fresh-faced Maradona there before the World Cup win and things like that. But an incredible shirt. Also worth noting that the crest is a very interesting design, a very interesting version of the crest. And this crest will come up again when we talk about this year's Boca Juniors home shirt. But going back to 1981, you've got, again, the trefoil, the old crest, those Adidas 3 stripes running all the way down the sleeve, something which is so nice and so sorely missed on modern shirts. It's really nice to see no sponsor as well here. It adds to the purity of this shirt, and even the very simple neckline, the very simple collar, really add to the shirt. It looks so good in long sleeves. The shorts and the typeface which accompanied it were equally magnificent. This is basically just the perfect Boca Juniors shirt. It really is. It's got the exact formula. But those little Adidas details, that alternative version of the crest, only add to the charm, to the power of this shirt. And this is one I'd certainly love to own. This will be quite hard to find in my search this year. You basically can't improve upon this shirt in my opinion. And this is certainly one of my favourite shirts of all time. Next up, we're actually going to go to an away shirt. And this is Boca Juniors' incredible spin on the Germany 88 shirt. This is their 1986 away shirt. And it is that amazing Germany design, which many people consider the best shirt of all time, alongside the Holland 88 shirt, in Boca Juniors colours. And look at this, guys. If you haven't seen this before, you're probably picking your jaw up off the floor. It is an incredible shirt. Look at that. It's so fun. It's like a concept shirt or a fantasy shirt. Look at that design with the blue and the gold and the blue in those stripes. Again, of course, that same template, that same design that Germany had. I really like the placement of the sponsor logo here. And this shirt was actually continued for a few years. Fiat came in to sponsor Boca Juniors and were on this shirt design for a couple of years. But I really like this version, the first version with this template and the Fate O sponsor, how it tucks in. It's quite crowned, it's quite busy, isn't it? It's kind of tucked in just above the pattern and next to the trefoil. And again, we've got the Adidas trefoil, which is a great draw. But a simply wonderful shirt. Even just the fact that you've still got the kind of central gold element, like a classic Boca Juniors shirt. Yes, it's not a typical Boca Juniors shirt, but it's still, it's quite faithful to other Boca Juniors shirts. It's perfect. It's so good. This is even better, actually, in my eyes, than the 81 design. And that's saying something, because I love that first one that we talked about. But this is another amazing Boca Juniors shirt. The 86 away. We're now going to jump forward to 1992. And we're going to talk about the 1992 Boca Juniors home shirt. And this is actually one of the shirts that are next to me. So let's get this shirt, let's talk about this design and see some of the details. And as I hold up this shirt, this is another Adidas design, the third Adidas design. I'll start by just talking about my first impressions of having this shirt in person. It's a very old school design. The Adidas stripes are stitched on, they're nice and chunky. There's a kind of slightly shiny aesthetic to the material. Again, we've got the trefoil, another version of Adidas' famous logo, another great version of the Boca Juniors crest, and also the Parmalat sponsor. If you go to the back, Parmalat are again on the back of the shirt. The choice for the shades of colour are excellent. And yeah, this is a particularly golden shade, I would say. A lot of Boca Juniors shirts look more sort of yellow, blue and yellow, which still looks great. But I really like it when you've got a slightly more gold shade, like this 92 home. And I think it looks great. Again, just seeing all the elements at play, it's such a good football shirt. I'm not usually a big one for collars. I quite like a simple crew neck. But I think it's quite nice. If you stack this against, say, the shirt that came 10 years before, the 1981, the first shirt on the list, I think it looks really nice. You've still got elements, but there are differences. The crest is different, you've got a collar. Indeed, the choice of colours is different. You've got the sponsors. Materials change as well over the years, but you've still got that same charm, that same beauty. We should talk as well about the construction of the shirt. And if I show you the inside of the shirt, you'll see that the gold band is actually a stitched in panel. So you can see there, it's not just a kind of print. There's a real kind of nice separation there, and I really like that. It's really nice to see elements of a shirt which are part of the construction. Again, if I bring the shirt closer, you can see that you've got a separate panel, a separate section, and that really adds to the quality of the shirt. It really adds to a shirt which feels like it's been made properly. It's yet another amazing design. It's been a bit of an Adidas loving, hasn't it, so far, but for good reason. They were so good with Boca Juniors throughout the 80s and into the early 90s. And we're not quite done yet, because at number 4, we've got another Adidas Boca Juniors shirt, the 92 away. The away to this shirt's home. Look at this design. Another incredible version of an Adidas template. And if you remember this one, this was used by a number of teams, including the USSR. They had a very famous version of this shirt. But I love, again, the Boca Juniors spin on the design. And again, like the 86 away which you talked about, what's really nice is that in this template, in this Adidas template, you've got that kind of central gold element. It's one thing to just have a blue and gold version of a template, but it still feels like a nice Boca Juniors shirt. The way that gold band goes through the sleeves and across the chest, the trefoil sitting neatly in that gold band. Framed by those crazy geometric elements, of course, in blue, and a lovely blue and gold version of the Fiat sponsor. It's such a creative shirt, such a nice design, and this one I think is crying to be remade. I think this sort of design really could come back in a big way in the modern game and would look really fresh. Other features you will notice, I believe the same type of collar as the home, or certainly very similar. And look at it in long sleeves again, you get the full enjoyment of the pattern in the long sleeves, but another incredible version of an Adidas template in Boca Juniors colours. It's so nice when you have a team who have been with the manufacturer for several years, you get to see different templates, different memorable templates in a particular team's colourway. I think that's really fun. I think it's really exciting. Boca Juniors aren't just about home shirts. That's really what I want to get across, guys. They are also about some incredible away shirts. So another good entry here with the 92 away. Now we're going to finally move on from Adidas. I probably could have done a top 20 Adidas Boca Juniors shirts list, if not more. But we're going to go to Nike. And after a brief spell with manufacturer Olan, Boca Juniors moved to Nike. So we had all those great Adidas kits, and now we had a really fun period with Nike. And I want to zoom in on the 1998 season. Now, Boca Juniors home and away shirts in the 98 season were incredible. But I want to focus in on the shirts used in the Mercosa Cup. I hope I've said that right. The Mercosa or Mercosa Cup, which was a cup competition which Boca Juniors entered. They used 3 different kits in this competition. Now, I could probably pick all 3 of these kits. I'll pick out the gold variant, which I believe was the 3rd shirt. But basically, you had a blue, white and gold version of a great, well-loved late 90s Nike template. I really like this one. There's something quite kind of casual about it. It looks a bit like a kind of leisure wear piece. But look at the pictures here, guys. I owned the gold version. It was in my collection video about a year ago. And I almost sold it this summer, but thankfully I didn't. And now I'm really glad I didn't, because I went on to find the blue version not long after I decided to start looking at Boca Juniors shirts. I was able to pick that one up. And now I'm on the hunt for the white version. And I'll show you a picture on screen now of the white version. But look at this, guys. Look at this Nike template. It is aged so well. It looks so good, so contemporary. Of course, these designs are not typical Boca Juniors shirts, and that's what I quite like about them. You've still got horizontal elements with the kind of horizontal pinstripes across all 3 of these shirts, but it's not a typical Boca Juniors shirt, and that I think brings such a freshness. The Quilmes sponsor as well is a great iconic sponsor, probably the best sponsor Boca Juniors have ever had. But look at these shirts. I mean, I had a bit of fun actually with these 2 shirts. When I got the blue version, I sort of did a few different designs, a half and half. I did a version, kind of a classic Boca Juniors shirt remix. Just had some fun with the pictures. I'm sure we've all done that sort of thing before when you get a tandem of shirts. But a wonderful shirt. This 1998 Cup shirt. If I'm ever able to get hold of the white one, and I'm certainly looking out as we speak, expect a lot of pictures of these ones. So we've had 5 shirts. There's only 2 more to go. We're continuing with another Nike shirt. And this is the 2003 home shirt. Now, I thought long and hard about this entry because there were a lot of potential candidates. Nike, from the late 90s through to the 10s, did a lot of great things, and they tried a lot of different things with Boca Juniors. There were some anniversary shirts which are really interesting. But this 2003 shirt stands out to me. It's very symbolic of the early noughties shirt design, which really focused on things like paneling, and the player issue version of this shirt actually had dual layers. Many of you will remember the dual layer approach that Nike and Adidas took at this time. It was quite nice to me as well to see a slightly kind of fresher, lighter shade of blue and yellow. And I do say yellow here because unlike the gold which we typically see, this was much more of a yellow shade. Almost a bit luminous, not quite luminous, but certainly much brighter. But I think it added a lot of freshness to the look. Shout out to Pepsi as well. And Pepsi were a great sponsor to have. This was around the time, of course, when they were doing ads on the telly, and a really kind of interesting brand. I love seeing big brands on football shirts, and incorporated to perfection here. But yeah, Nike, as I say, like other manufacturers, were doing a lot of interesting things with their shirts. Is it the most exciting one? No, I don't think this shirt is nearly as good as any of the shirts that have come before it. But I do think, again, it's very symbolic of the era. And I think actually it stands really tall. When you look at Nike's Boca Juniors shirts, as I say, I really like this one. It's got interesting elements. These technical elements, things like mesh sections or mesh panels on shirts, which really add an intriguing side to shirt design. I'd love to get one of these. I'd love to get one of these in person, maybe a long sleeve version as well. It'd be a really fun shirt, I think, to kind of pick apart and look at in detail. But it is one of my favourite Boca Juniors shirts of all time, and I believe it is one of the greatest Boca Juniors shirts of all time. But now we've come to the end of our list. We're going to jump all the way from 2003 right up to present day. So we've made quite a big jump. As I say, there were some good Boca Juniors shirts in the time between 2003 and this year. But I did want to mention this year's home shirt. It is an incredible shirt, one of my favourites of the season. And I've got the shirt. I've got the shirt next to me. Let's have a closer look at the 2021 Boca Juniors home shirt. And this isn't just the Boca Juniors home shirt, but the authentic, the player issue version of the Boca Juniors home shirt. So there's loads I want to show you about this design. This was actually picked up from a fellow collector in Argentina who was able to help me get the shirt. Of course, the first thing we should mention is the crest, the return of the early 80s crest. It's been a bit of a feature across clubs this season. But yes, we do have the old school crest back again on the shirt, and the little plastic stars look great there. Indeed, just the whole shirt as well has that wonderful Adidas player issue material, a kind of waffle texture. Adidas, I don't think are at the top of their game at the moment, but they do get the look and feel of their player issue shirts right. I think the feel of an Adidas player issue shirt is really nice. And the Adidas logo as well there, again in a kind of nice raised textured detail. Such a nice application style. Probably the worst thing about this shirt is the sponsor. Qatar Airways does absolutely nothing for me as a sponsor, but at least it's in the right colour. It doesn't detract too much. If you flip the shirt over, this actually has a name and number as well. And Izquierdos, again I probably butchered that pronunciation, but his name and number are on the back in a wonderful retro style. And it's very interesting to note, as I'll show you in a close-up, that the J of the 4 there is actually yellow because of the style of the numbers. The CABJ lettering is actually a cutout style, and the way the 4 has been positioned, it actually has the J in yellow. It looks quite funny, but this is the way it was worn on pitch, so it's quite an unusual quirk. It's not necessarily a good look, but I kind of like that. I really like how you've got the current primary Boca Juniors crest as well on the back of the neck. I think that's a great touch because you've got, again, the retro crest on the front, but the current crest on the back. I think that's a really nice way to incorporate it. Even just the paneling again here, guys, you can see on the Adidas player issue shirts, it looks really good the way the crest can sit in the middle there. And just the retro numbering, I'll mention the numbering again, very reminiscent of the 80s style, but it looks good in modern day. I'll show you a few more close-ups as well, things like the neck, which again look really good. You've got this sort of double knit structure on the collar, and it's been a bit of a trend across a few teams and brands to have this kind of style, but it looks really good. It's a real shame the Adidas 3 stripes cut off like they do on other modern shirts. But guys, this is just such a nice shirt. I was so happy to get this, as I say, as a player issue. With the name and number, it's not disappointed. It was even better than I expected. When I compare it to the 92 home, and you can just see on the side here next to me, the colour shades are different. They're a bit more like that 2003 shirt, aren't they? The gold is actually much more kind of yellow than the older shirt there. But it's an equally beautiful shirt, and it's so nice to see Adidas returning to one of their best shirts. So there we go, guys. That is a top 7. A top 7 list for one of the greatest clubs for shirts. An incredibly stacked list. I mean, certainly the start of the top 7 was otherworldly, incredible. But that'll just about do it for today's video. So I hope you enjoyed this trip, this blue and gold laden trip through Boca Juniors football shirt history. Do leave a comment on this video. Let me know what was your favourite shirt of the list, what shirt did I miss, what shirt should have been in the top 7. And if you've got this far and you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to keep up to date with Phil's Corner, to know when I'm streaming, when new episodes drop, and to just support the channel, support the growth of this channel. We're closing in on 3k subscribers, so if we can reach that point by the end of the year, I'll be really happy. It'll be a great milestone. So join the Phil's Corner family, subscribe, and again, if you're new, you've got a back catalogue of over 30 videos of different topics around football shirts, which you can enjoy at your own leisure. But that'll do it for episode 29 of Phil's Corner. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you again to my sponsors, Fit Fanatics, and to my supporters on Patreon. I'll see you soon for another video, maybe another live stream. Wherever it is, we'll speak then. And until then, take care.